Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Mzansi Daily Update, where we unpack the latest political headlines shaping South Africa and the world. Today's story takes us into a dramatic international twist involving none other than former US President Donald Trump, who's once again stirred global controversy, this time by taking aim at South Africa ahead of the upcoming G20 Summit. So buckle up, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below, because this one's going to be explosive. Donald Trump versus South Africa, the G20 controversy. On April 13th, the economic freedom fighters, EFF, came out guns blazing against Donald Trump after the former US president suggested that he might skip the upcoming G20 summit in South Africa. Posting on his Truth Social platform, Trump cited what he called violence against white farmers and land confiscation as key reasons why he believes South Africa is unfit to host such a prestigious global event. But the EFF wasn't having any of it. In a strongly worded statement, the party slammed Trump's remarks as disingenuous and riddled with misinformation. According to the EFF, Trump's narrative is nothing more than a strategic distraction, an attempt to avoid facing global scrutiny over his own political and economic record, including trade wars that strained US relations with China and Europe. The party didn't hold back. They described Trump's economic legacy as economic genocide, targeting the working class of America, especially those left behind by his protectionist policies. And they argue that his so-called concerns about South Africa are merely smoke and mirrors designed to stir up international outrage and possibly lay the groundwork for future sanctions. Land reform and racial politics. Trump's commentary appears to have been triggered by a resurfaced video clip of EFF leader Julius Malema advocating for land reform, an issue that has long been central to the EFF's political mission. Malema has repeatedly called for the redistribution of land without compensation, particularly to address centuries of dispossession under colonial and apartheid rule. While these calls remain controversial in some quarters, especially among conservative voices in the West, the South African government has been clear: land reform is being pursued legally under the framework of the Expropriation Act. President Cyril Ramaphosa's administration has emphasized that all land-related policies are rooted in constitutional principles and aim to correct historic injustices without destabilizing the economy. Nonetheless, international narratives, like Trump's, continue to portray South Africa as a dangerous and lawless environment, especially for white citizens. The EFF says this is nothing more than a rehashed form of imperialism, using fear-mongering to undermine South Africa's sovereignty and push Western agendas. The presidency and the DA respond. The presidency wasn't fazed by Trump's outburst either. A spokesperson for President Cyril Ramaphosa dismissed the comments entirely, stating bluntly that Trump was never on the guest list to begin with. "We weren't expecting him anyway," they said. Meanwhile, Democratic Alliance, DA, leader John Steenhuisen also weighed in, offering a rare moment of agreement with the EFF, though for very different reasons. Steenhuisen rejected Trump's portrayal of South Africa as a racially violent country, noting that while violent crime is a serious concern, it is not racially targeted. This is a key distinction that often gets lost in international debates, especially those fueled by sensationalist narratives. EFF, Trump's absence would be a blessing. The EFF went even further, saying that Trump's absence from the G20 would be a blessing in disguise. They argue that his participation would only serve to distract from the summit's true purpose, fostering inclusive and equitable global economic solutions. According to the EFF, Trump has a history of undermining multilateral efforts, pointing to US interventions in Iraq and Libya as examples of so-called democracy promotion that left entire regions destabilized. The party believes that the G20 should instead focus on addressing global inequality, debt restructuring for the Global South, and creating a fairer international trade system, without the disruptive influence of what they call American fear-mongering. Context matters, the broader political landscape. It's important to understand the broader context behind this story. South Africa is preparing to host one of the most important diplomatic events of the year, bringing together the world's largest economies to discuss everything from climate change and trade, to digital innovation and global conflict. For South Africa, this is not just about logistics, it's about international legitimacy. With ongoing challenges at home, including economic inequality, load shedding, and political tensions within the Government of National Unity, the G20 presents a chance for the country to showcase its ability to lead on the world stage. That's precisely why comments like Trump's can be so damaging. They feed into a narrative that South Africa is chaotic, corrupt, and unsafe, despite the fact that many Western countries struggle with similar or worse challenges. And for the EFF, Trump's remarks also bring back memories of past US presidents using Africa as a political scapegoat. They argue that these narratives serve to reinforce neo-colonial power structures, where African nations are judged harshly by standards that the West rarely applies to itself. The bigger picture, South Africa's global image. In a year where South Africa is trying to position itself as a key player in global geopolitics, especially with its growing ties to BRICS nations, this G20 summit could be a turning point. The country is aiming to drive conversations around equitable economic development, vaccine access, and global peace initiatives. And while Donald Trump's comments might make headlines in the US, on the ground in South Africa, they're seen by many as outdated and out of touch with the reality of today's global dynamics. The EFF has made it clear, they're not here to be lectured by a former president with a history of controversial decisions and divisive rhetoric. Instead, they're calling for global solidarity among developing nations and a more inclusive approach to international governance. Closing thoughts. So what do you think? Was Trump out of line, or is he raising valid concerns? Should South Africa be worried about how it's being perceived globally, or is this just another attempt by the West to undermine African leadership? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more political updates from South Africa and around the world, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching Mzansi Daily Update. Stay informed, stay empowered, and see you next time.